best music.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
It's finally here. We are back in the studio for episode 2 after one of the worst sports weekends of my life. My Green Bay Packers fell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship, 31-26. The Bucs will go on to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, which I will be previewing next week. As for the Packers, the season comes to an end, meaning for me, it's time to shift my focus to the NBA, where the Los Angeles Lakers have been on an absolute tear as they defend their title with the Clippers and Jazz hot on their heels in the West. The Sixers sit atop the East as they look to hold off the Bucks, Celtics, and the scorching Brooklyn Nets. So I brought on 2 of the HTF Network's NBA experts to help me break it all down. In honor to welcome Cliff Tumetel and Nick Geddes to the show. Gentlemen, how are we doing today? Cliff, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited to be part of the show.
And we also have our host of HTF Bets, Nick Geddes. Nick, how are you today?
I'm doing good. It was the best sports weekend of my life, John, but I'm glad to get into the NBA today.
Let's get into it. Cliff, you are our in-house Lakers fan. Who do you see as the biggest threat to them in their title defense?
Well, I know we said this last year, but I'm still holding on to it. It's got to be the Clippers. I mean, the system that they've played in, they look more comfortable in it. The coach is doing a fantastic job. At the same time, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are playing like an all-star level, as they should be, as well as they're on a huge game-winning streak. I mean, they've won 7 in a row, with the Utah Jazz being the only team with 8 games of a winning streak against them. So I truly think they have the best chance against the Lakers. Hopefully, we can finally see that crosstown matchup in the conference finals, maybe even the playoffs in general.
I think we will see it in the playoffs. And you're right, the Clippers, they are everything that I built them up to be last year. Last year, I had them as my NBA champion. That's why this year, I just can't fall for it. You know, when Kawhi won the finals with the Raptors, he didn't have to see LeBron. This year, he's going to have to see LeBron in the playoffs. And I don't think they can rely on Paul George as a second scoring option in the same way that the Lakers can rely on Anthony Davis and LeBron as a 1-2.
Well, I think like one of the main things is the fact that, you know, they're not in the spotlight anymore. From last season, they were always continuously, like, everyone's talking about them, talking about their mistakes and everything else. But in this season, I think because they're not in the spotlight compared to, let's say, the Brooklyn Nets, they're more comfortable and they can adjust to their problems. And I think now, because of this, they can move a bit more freely for this season rather than last season.
Nick, let me ask you, who do you see as the biggest threat to the Los Angeles Lakers?
I'm going with the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets showed a lot last year. They grew up a little bit in the playoffs. Obviously, we know what the threat Nikola Jokic is. He's a triple-double machine. And Jamal Murray, even though he's not playing that well this season so far, he always turns it up in the playoffs. And I think we have enough track record the last 2 postseasons. He's going to do it again this year. And then I think the X factor is Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr., I mean, you saw 30 last night in a winning effort. He's been awesome this year, and I think he's turned into a legitimate third threat. But I also love the depth that they have. They have 8 guys that are averaging double digits this year. They don't turn over the ball. I think they play adequate defense. It's not their strong suit. But I think the Nuggets could give the Lakers a hard time if I had to pick anybody right now.
Here's the thing. You're both wrong, and here's why. The Nuggets, they're a very good team, but they're a regular season team, okay? In the NBA, we talk a lot about the Batman and Robin. Here, the Nuggets, they don't have a Batman. They're a team full of Robins, and when they get to the playoffs and they have to play a 7-game series against a LeBron James or a Kawhi Leonard, they're going to come up short. My biggest threat to the Lakers is the Brooklyn Nets. I said it last week. I'll say it again for anybody who didn't see. The Brooklyn Nets are going to win the NBA title. They have 3 Batmans on the team. You think about it, when the Cavaliers came back from 3-1 on the Lakers, or 3-1 on the Warriors, Kyrie kind of carried that team. Kyrie showed that he can get it done in the NBA Finals, okay? And then you've got Kevin Durant. He's a former Finals MVP. former regular season MVP, former scoring title, and then James Harden as, your second or third option. We're not really sure yet, but ever since Kyrie came back, it certainly looks like all three of them is going to be too much points. While other teams right now, they're looking at, how do we shut down Anthony Davis defensively? Whereas the Brooklyn Nets, they don't have to shut down Anthony Davis defensively because they can put up so much points when they have three of the best ISO scores in the whole NBA.
Well, John, I'll ask you, what about the chemistry? I just don't think this is the year to try to build chemistry right now with everything going on, the postponements, practices, this and that. We never know what could happen day to day, and I just don't think this is the year for that, and I think it could come back to bite them in the playoffs.
See, I almost disagree. I think it is the year for that. I think I would make the case that because of the COVID precautions, the teams are, sticking together. They're not going out and doing their own thing. The teams have never been closer. They're in close quarters. And, so far, the chemistry looks good between the three, Kyrie, KD, and Harden. Not to mention Joe Harris, who's getting a lot of open shots due to those three scoring threats. So I would make the case that, chemistry is not going to be an issue with this team. And I think, I don't know if I have them winning the East, but I certainly have them winning the NBA Finals. East regular season, let me clarify. So let's get into the East. Right now we have the Sixers sitting at the top. Cliff, are the Sixers for real in the Eastern Conference?
In the Eastern Conference, I truly think so as well because Joel Embiid is playing like an MVP level at this point. On the offense, if you see it runs through him, I think Doc Rivers has done a great job in just reestablishing what their identity is in terms of regular season. When it comes to playoff, let's see. We haven't seen what this new type of style that Doc Rivers is trying to implement will do, but I have full confidence that they can make a run in the playoffs. For all we know, they could probably advance the NBA Finals with this style that Doc Rivers is giving them.
Nick, are the Sixers legit? Do you agree with Cliff? Are they the best team in the East? Are they going to advance to the NBA Finals?
I do think they're the best team in the East. I love the depth that they have. I think they're so deep, and what they did this year, they bring in an established coach in Doc Rivers. They bring in two veterans who have played in a lot of big games, Dwight Howard and Danny Green. And then you got Shake Milton, who's playing like the sixth man of the year this year. You've got Seth Curry, who's been playing at his best rate in his entire career. We know what Embiid can do. You have your concerns about Ben Simmons in the playoffs because we know he can't shoot. We need him to be more aggressive. And you saw when he is aggressive the other night against Boston, he was able to take over the last 10 minutes of that game and kind of guided them to a victory. So I like that as well. But I think the two X factors also come from their bench, and that's Matthias Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey. The defense that they play, and then Maxey specifically, the offense that he provides. I just think it's just another layer that you're going to have to guard with the Sixers, and that's why I don't think any other team in the East has that depth that they have, and I definitely think they can give the Nets a run for their money.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it remains to be seen. You guys know I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets. Unfortunately, fellas, that's all the time we have for NBA. We will come back with our classic segment, the Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week.
Yo, guys, I can't even imagine what it's like to be a Saints fan right now.
Dude,
I'd be so
Guys,
mad.
I can't believe that ridiculous no call.
Bro, I'm puzzled. If they would have made that call, who do you think would have been in the Super Bowl? The Saints would have been in the Super Bowl. Come on now.
The refs, they need to be punished.
Oh, hey guys. Did you see my missed call last week? Could have sent that team to the championship. I guess not.
I can't take this anymore.
What's up with this guy?
But
Right. It's like a few sentences and everything. All right.
we are back. This is the segment where we reveal our Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week. If you're new to the show, the Beast of the Week is the player that impressed us most from the previous week. The Bust is the player or team that was most disappointing from the previous week. And the Best is the best team from the previous week. With that said, Cliff, who is your Beast of the Week?
Just for today, it's going to be Kobe Bryant. 5-time NBA champion, a two-time finals MVP, and MVP. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's unfortunate he has passed, but just for January 26th, my Beast of the Week, I don't care like if he's active or not. I don't care. It's Kobe Bryant. God bless his soul and all those others' lives lost in the helicopter crash.
Absolutely. You know, Kobe, somebody we can all take so much inspiration from. One of the greatest athletes I got the privilege of watching. Nick, who is your Beast of the Week?
I'm going to go a little off the radar, and I'm going to go with Naz Hillman, who is Michigan's women's basketball. She dropped 50 points and 16 rebounds last Thursday in a loss against Ohio State. That is an all-time Michigan men's or women's record that had stood for 38 years. So congrats to Naz Hillman. She's going to be a force whenever she gets to the WNBA.
Absolutely. That's a great beast. Absolutely went off, and I think she's going to have an amazing WNBA career. My beast of the week is Tyreek Hill. He put up 172 receiving yards in the AFC Championship when it mattered most. And what's crazy is about Tyreek Hill to me is he's going against other professional athletes, and he's making them look absolutely silly. The play that stands out to me was a curl on third down in their last drive. He had about 10 yards of separation because Trey White had to give him so much cushion so he didn't get beat deep. So Tyreek Hill resembles everything in a beast. Tyreek Hill is my beast of the week. Cliff, who is your bust of the week?
It's going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. From what I've been seeing these past couple of games, they are struggling to find identity. Is Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson going to be that guy? And Lonzo, he's shooting 38% from the field. That's not impressive at all. So they need to find identity, find a system that can work well with them because they have a lot of individual talent, but they need to work together as a team if they want to even make to the playoffs for this season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a great bust. Nick, who is your bust of the week?
I'm coming after the Green Bay Packers. I'm very disappointed in what they showed this weekend. Yes, they came back into the game, but a lot of that was the Bucs were kind of taking themselves out of the game. They gave the Packers so many chances, and at the end of the game, Matt LaFleur taking the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, that's been dissected to death, but it truly is a terrible decision. And so just the Packers definitely are on my list for that one.
Absolutely. Everything went right up until about the last 4 minutes, and then everything that could go wrong possibly went wrong. It was so maddening. I think the biggest play that stands out to me was that 3rd and goal where Aaron Rodgers looked like he had a clear running lane into the end zone, and he throws it into double coverage. That play sticks out of my mind as maybe the play that lost them the game. And then you go and kick the field goal when Tom Brady's going to get that 3rd down conversion when you give him the ball back. But then it comes down to Kevin King completely bailing them out on 3rd down to convert. Everything that went wrong could. It's maddening. I still think about it each morning when I wake up. I don't know if I'll be over this loss for a long time. Okay? Let's move on. My bust of the week is the Tennessee Volunteers football program. Every year their fan base thinks they're going to be back. They recruit so well year to year. They've had top 10 recruiting class for as long as I remember. Now we know why. Supposedly their football program was handing recruits bags of money in McDonald's bags, okay? This is the SEC football, okay? You're paying recruits through McDonald's bag. Did you think you were going to get away with this? Tennessee, this was probably the most Tennessee Volunteers football thing I've ever seen. Tennessee, you are my bust of the year. You're my bust of the week. You're my bust forever. Cliff, who is your best of the week?
Right now, it would have to be the Utah Jazz. They're the 3rd seeded team in the West, right behind the Lakers and Clippers. That's honestly from a team that was up 3-1 but lost in that last playoffs, and now they're the 3rd seed right now. It's honestly impressive, and the fact that they're one of the best teams in defending the 3-point line currently. Also you have Rudy Gobert in the paint. That is a strong defensive team, and then they have Donovan Mitchell over there racking up his crazy numbers. This team right now, I think they might even be able to beat the Lakers and Clippers in the game if they have to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The Utah Jazz are one of the most intriguing teams in the NBA to me right now because I feel like Donovan Mitchell just might be making that jump to where he's a true Batman. He can take his team, to new levels. It remains to be seen for certain, but I think there's a chance. I saw a week ago Shaq in an interview with Donovan Mitchell said that, he wasn't at that next level. He hadn't made that jump. And I think that's going to give Mitchell the inspiration to show us all that he is there. He is a true Batman. Nick, who is your best of the week?
I got to go with the Chiefs. I just think week in and week out, they just prove that they are the class of the NFL, and I think that's all you can really say about it. You think what they did last week with the Browns, Mahomes goes down, and they still find a way to win. And then they have the hottest team in all of the NFL the last 2 months rides in. It wasn't close. It was not close. Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, Mecole Hardman, and the whole crew just wasn't close, and I think that Tampa's going to have a hard time trying to stop them.
Absolutely, man. Every time Patrick Mahomes is really tested, he proves that he's head and shoulders above everyone else in the league. It's truly amazing to watch. My best of the week is the city of Tampa. You've got the Rays winning the Stanley Cup. You've got the Rays, the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup, the Rays going to the World Series, and now the Bucks are in the Super Bowl. This is a great year for the city of Tampa. Hopefully the Raptors can step it up. So, the city of Tampa is my best of the week. That is all the time we have for the Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week. Fellas, thank you for giving me your input. We'll be right back.
Good morning, fellas, except for Andre.
KG in the building.
James Harden is a stat pack.
That is not, you're right.
He's the best scorer.
He has 120 straight points now.
Bro, 120 straight points out. He doesn't pass.
Alright, let's do this. Let's get down to business, guys.
He's still got Aaron Gordon, PJ Tucker, and them boys. Come on now.
What about Carl?
Tom Brady is his son.
Facts.
I think it's kind of special though.
What? What are you talking about, man? Crazy, man. Don't ever say that. This is your dad, What are you talking about?
Welcome back. It's certainly been great to be back in the studio. Please join us next week. We're going to have 2 completely new guests as we preview the Super Bowl between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't wait for that. Tune in Friday. We're going to have Sean Green, Almost Game Day, back in the studio. You're not going to want to miss that either. I know he's bringing some heat. Also, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. That way you're not going to miss Sean's show. You're not going to miss the Super Bowl preview next week. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Nick and Cliff, for joining us. And please give a round of applause for our production crew.